Good evening, everyone. It's Coach Tam, 100-pound weight loss success story and transformation coach based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I wanted to hop on because I had a conversation with one of my clients today that really inspired tonight's broadcast. And so what I want to do is actually talk about something that isn't talked about enough, in my opinion, and talk about some ways that if you are struggling with this area, that you can move past it. And the thing that I want to talk about is work stress. You know, a lot of times when we talk about winning at weight loss, we're talking about strategies for exercise or how to improve your nutrition. And all of those things are critically important. They have to be done in order to lose weight. But one of the things that is most interesting to me, being a health coach, in addition to a trainer and a nutrition coach, is to really look at some of the underlying reasons why we don't do the things that we know that we need to do. And one of the areas that I see come up again and again that can get in the way is work. You know, when we look at today's environment, we are, especially in America, very driven to be successful at work. There's a lot of pressure at work to meet certain expectations. In some companies, there are less people doing more work. And of course, you want to keep a job, so you want to make sure that you're delivering according to expectations. Then there are people that want to move up the corporate ladder. And so they want to make sure that they differentiate themselves and really stand out. And then there are some of you that are business owners and you are juggling the expectations of the staff that you manage, wanting to make sure that you can deliver for your clients, deliver that exceptional experience that they're looking for. And so you're constantly feeling under pressure to make sure that you're juggling all the balls and not dropping any. So all of these things can really play a role in whether or not we make the time or, quite honestly, have the energy to dedicate to meal planning and to exercise. So tonight I want to talk about some questions that I encourage you to ask yourself that can help get you on a path to moving past these things, okay? So we're going to start the discussion tonight. And if you have any questions or any comments from me, I'd love for you to drop them in the comments. If I can, I'll answer them right here on this live. And if not, I'll be happy to come back and address it. So what you may not know about me, although most of the time I'm talking about fitness and the clients that I work with, I also had a very successful career in corporate. And I was a person that really, really wanted to move up the ladder. I tended to work really, really long hours. So I would get to work early and I would stay late. So I can identify with that being a challenge of trying to make sure that you're getting everything done and make time for your health. So I'm going to be speaking not just from the standpoint of putting on my coaching hat, but also from personal experience. So I'll share some things that I have had to learn, especially as I've transitioned into the world of entrepreneurship, and hopefully these things will be helpful to you. So the first thing that I suggest that you ask yourself, if you constantly find yourself working really long hours and not having time for the things that are important, is, am I working on the right things? Am I working on the right things? Now, this one is tough because a lot of times we feel like everything is important. You know, everything is a priority. And I fall into this trap sometimes too with my business. So one of the questions that I constantly have to ask myself is, am I working on the right things? If you're in a corporate environment, or if you're working for someone else, one of the things that I had to learn is, one of the things I really needed to keep my eye on is what is important to the company. What are the things that I'm hearing most about? What are the things that are showing up in email after email? What's being talked about in meetings? And paying close attention to what the manager that you're working for is looking for. Why is that important? Because sometimes we're spending a lot of time on tasks and things that we believe personally are important, but may not be as important to our manager or to our company's bottom line. So what ends up happening is we spend all of our time on these things, and then we have to play catch up to make sure that we're meeting the expectations of our role. So not saying that those other things shouldn't be done, but I would encourage you to make sure that you're spending your time on the task or the activities that are most important, as evidenced by what you hear being talked about. I know that I personally had been guilty of this. There were things that were kind of personal crusades for me, things that I thought were really important and really needed to be, I really needed to spend time on. But at the end of the day, if you're working for someone else, you really do have to consider what is important to them. If you are a business owner, it's about what's going to create the best possible experience for your clients. Because when you have satisfied clients, then that's going to create a successful business for you. So you have to ask yourself, I have to ask myself, are the tasks and activities that I'm focused on things that are going to make a difference for my clients? Is it going to be things that's going to create a good experience for them and take it to the next level so that they will be satisfied and enjoy the experience that they have with us? And if the answer is no, then maybe I shouldn't be working on that. So the first thing that I want to challenge you to think about is, are you spending your time on the right things? Sometimes you're going to have to prioritize, and everything may not make it to the list. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, am I working at the right times? This is critically important. So one of the things that I want you to ask yourself is, when is your energy the highest? When is your energy the highest? So for me, and it wasn't always this way. If you would have talked to my mom, she would have some horrible stories. It wasn't always this way, but now I am a morning person. So what does that mean for me? That means the tasks and activities that are going to require the most mental energy, that I really need to make sure that I'm focused on, I'm going to be best served, my clients are going to be best served, my staff is going to be best served if I do those things in the morning when I am freshest. But that's what works for me. That may not be what works for you. Maybe you're a person that works best in the afternoon. If that's the case, you want to shift those activities that have the biggest impact to the afternoon. Why? Because then you're going to be more alert. You're going to make less mistakes. It's going to require less rework. So you'll actually be able to move through those tasks more quickly because you're working on them at the right time. All right. So am I working on the right things? Am I working on things at the right time based on when I have the most energy? This next one can be a tough one. Am I in the right place? I want you to think about that. Am I in the right place? Sometimes the reason that there's a lot of stress associated with work, and it can lead to other things like overeating or not making time for physical activity, is the assignment is up. And we are in a role, we're in a position that is causing frustration because it's not the best place for us to be in anymore. Now, sometimes that means that I need to make the courageous decision to look for a different job. Sometimes that's within the same company. If you work for a company that has lots of different opportunities, sometimes it's making that decision to step outside of that familiar environment that you've been in and transition to something else. If you're a business owner, it may be making those tough decisions about what products and services you offer, what brings you the most joy, what brings you the most happiness, and seems to create the best possible experience for your clients. Sometimes the energy is being dedicated to an area that just isn't serving you anymore. So that leads to a lot of stress and frustration because maybe, just maybe, it is time to move on. So those are the three questions that I want you to ask yourself. Am I working on the right things? Hey, Tanya, am I working on the right things? Am I working on those things at the right time? And then the critical, tough question is, am I in the right place? Because sometimes that assignment truly is up. Sometimes we have that gnawing in ourselves, or that little voice in our head that, hey, I should be pursuing something else. And I can tell you from personal experience that sometimes, it's a process. It may not be that you immediately jump from where you are to where you want to be. It may be something that you do in stages, but maybe some of the frustration is just not taking those steps in the direction that you know that God is calling you to take. And when we're not in alignment with purpose, that can also create stress. So if you're finding yourself missing your workouts on a regular basis, or eating when you know that you're not hungry, I want you to start paying attention to how the stress that you're dealing with at work could be impacting those habits. And if you have any questions as you think through that, I want you to drop those in the comments. I'll be happy to come back and talk more about this topic. Again, I know that it's not one that's talked about a lot in terms of weight loss, but I've seen it over and over and over again with my clients. Work is one of the big things that can stand in the way. So what we want to do is not just talk about surface things like, leave work early and make sure that you set it on a reminder on your clock or on your smartphone. Those things are important and they definitely help. But the question is, why don't we do that? So I hope that this session has been helpful to you. If it has, please go ahead and give me a like so that I know that this has resonated with you. If you believe that it can help someone else that you know, I want you to do me a favor and hit that share button and share it with them so that they can benefit too. And if you're looking for more tips, please feel free to visit our website at www.265point.com. Have a great evening and God bless.